Do we really have to be out here at night, Jeff?
No, I guess technically we don't, but there's something about an ancient cemetery under the moonlight.
Yeah, right.
Hey, shine your flashlight on that sign, Ray.
Okay. It says Rhode Island Historical Cemetery, Cumberland, number 17.
We're standing in a little hillside clearing dotted with some tall trees right off of Route 120. There's an old colonial stone wall standing guard around some small headstones. There's only a few burials in this little plot.
All right, I already heard that howl.
Yeah.
There's several dead people buried at our feet, so are we looking for a ghost or a werewolf?
And neither. We're in Cumberland, Rhode Island, searching for Abigail Staples. She might have been a vampire. Hi, I'm Jeff Belanger, and welcome to episode 129 of the New England Legends podcast. If you give us about 10 minutes, we'll give you something strange to talk about today.
And I'm Ray Auger. Thanks for joining us as we chronicle every legend in New England, one story at a time. And we love when you folks get involved.
We do.
Please share your feedback. Tell us about your own local legends. Contact us through our website at ournewenglandlegends.com or call or text our legend line anytime at 617-444-9683. You can also leave our show closing on our voicemail.
And this episode was brought to you by our growing army of Patreon patrons. These are the folks who kick in just $3 per month to help us with our growing expenses associated with producing the show. Plus, they get bonus episodes and content that nobody else gets to hear. If you want to become a bigger part of the movement, head over to patreon.com/New England Legends to sign up.
All right, so we're here in a small dark cemetery on a moonlit night in Cumberland looking for a vampire.
Yeah, that's what we're doing, Ray. And she's close. Like, right at our feet close.
All right, well, now I'm freaked out.
Are you ready to go back in time and try to meet her?
Well, I'm ready as I'll ever be, Jeff.
It's February of 1796 here in Cumberland, Rhode Island, and we've just walked into a town council meeting.
Order, order, order!
That's when Mr. Stephen Staples approaches the council with a request unlike anything they've ever heard before.
I pray that I might have liberty granted unto me to dig up the body of my daughter, Abigail Staples, late of Cumberland. She was a single woman, now deceased. I wish to try an experiment on my other daughter, Lavinia Chase, wife of Stephen Chase.
Wait. He wants to dig up his daughter for an experiment?
Yeah.
What kind of horrible thing is happening here?
Well, to figure that out, we're going to have to head over and see Lavinia Chase.
At the home of Lavinia and Stephen Chase, something dark hangs in the air. Lavinia is sick. It's consumption, also known as the wasting disease, and more formally known as tuberculosis.
Now, the thing about consumption is it comes in several varieties. The bacteria gets into your lungs and slowly starts eating away at a person from the inside.
Ugh.
Now, there's galloping consumption, and that could kill you in a matter of weeks. In other cases, the illness could take months or even years to kill you, and of course, some people just kind of live with it for the rest of their lives.
But Lavinia is getting worse. No matter what the doctors try, no matter what remedies her family gives her, nothing seems to be helping. Her family is getting desperate.
And in their desperation, they start thinking back to when the illness started for Lavinia. Then it hits them. Lavinia got sick shortly after her sister Abigail died, also of consumption. Now, at first, it seems like this is just a coincidence, but then they realize there have been signs. Strange signs. Stephen Staples explains.
Ever since Abigail's death, the life seems to be slowly draining from Lavinia's body, leaving her more frail by the day. She's been having the strangest visions in her fevered dreams. It's as if she's being tormented and smothered each night by a shadowy figure that perches upon her chest, almost crushing her, as if the creature is feeding upon her very breath.
At first, the family believes maybe these are just fever dreams, maybe even something diabolical. But then one morning, Lavinia whimpers in her sleep. She clearly is in the grip of some kind of nightmare. Her eyes pop open. She jerks her body upright and cries out,
Abigail!
And then she falls instantly back asleep. The family is unnerved, to say the least. Pretty soon, some friends and neighbors start whispering about a vampire.
Now, this is a time when medical science is making great discoveries, almost daily. Newspaper reports are filled with stories of new developments in vaccines and other treatments for the sick and dying. Doctors even have some understanding of contagions, how an illness can spread from one person to another. But that doesn't mean the information is filtered out to us regular folks yet. Plus, even when you explain science to a person, sometimes belief proves even more powerful. And right now, someone believes Lavinia may be the victim of a vampire. And that vampire may just be her dead sister, Abigail.
Lavinia's father is desperate. He's already lost one daughter, and now he fears he's on the verge of losing another.
Let's head back to Cumberland's town council meeting and see what they have to say.
What is it? Witchcraft? Oh, come on. Sorcery.
It looks like Stephen Staples' request is causing quite a commotion.
Well, it's an odd request. They're deliberating and arguing over witchery and sorcery, but many of these councilmen are parents, and some part of them knows if there was one chance in 1,000 to save their own dying child, come on, they'd take it. Oh, hey, I think they've reached a decision.
Being duly considered, it is voted and resolved that the said Stephen Staples have liberty to dig up the body of the said Abigail, deceased, and after the experiment, as aforesaid, that he bury the body of the said Abigail in a decent manner.
Oh, thank you, Councilman. Thank you all.
And that brings us back to today.
Wait. What experiments? What happened after he dug up Abigail? What happened to Lavinia?
You want the truth?
I do. I always do.
You think you can handle it?
I can.
All right, the truth is, we don't know what happened. What we do know is that this ruling on the strange request of Stephen Staples is in the town records for Cumberland.
And we know this Rhode Island Historic Cemetery number 17 is still here in Cumberland.
Right, and we know because of the meticulous records kept by the Rhode Island Historical Cemetery Commission that there are 8 burials here in the Staples family plot.
8? All right, well, a couple of the headstones are obvious and easy to read, but there must be 20 or more field stones on this little hillside.
Yeah, you're right. There's well more than 8. And some are really small, others are larger. And I can make out just a couple of letters on this one over here, but I couldn't tell you what it says.
Well, it's kind of sad to think we're never going to know who most of these bodies are, Jeff.
The earliest burial is 1769, and the latest is 1840. And we only know 4 of the first names on these stones, and none of those are Abigail or Lavinia.
All right, but it's safe to assume Abigail is, or at least was, buried here somewhere because she died before she was married.
Right.
So it would make sense she's in the family plot, which we know existed at least as early as 1769.
Yeah, that completely makes sense.
Since Lavinia Staples Chase was married, it's possible she's buried somewhere else, possibly with the Chase family.
Sure.
But we found no record of her death or burial plot either, so we don't know when she died.
So in short, we don't know if Stephen Staples ultimately went through with the exhumation. If he did he go through with those, quote, experiments? And if he did that, did they have any effect at all on Lavinia?
But I read online how Stephen Chase went mad after Abigail's coffin was opened. I read somewhere else that there were scratch marks inside Abigail's coffin, meaning she was trying to get out.
Yeah. I read that too, but it's just speculation. We really have no idea if it happened.
I mean, a lot of this story sounds so strangely familiar.
Yeah, I'm sure it does.
But I believe this makes the 3rd vampire story we've investigated and the 2nd in Rhode Island.
Right. Way back in podcast episode 84, we explored the story of Mercy Brown, the Rhode Island vampire.
Now, we should point out that Mercy Brown was from the southern Rhode Island town of Exeter. And we're here in Cumberland, right on the Massachusetts border in the north.
And the Mercy Brown event took place in 1892, almost a century after Abigail Staples.
All right, as a quick refresher, Mercy Brown died in January of 1892, and her body was stored in the cemetery keep for winter because the ground is frozen. 3 months later, her body was pulled out of the keep. They determined the body was moved. There was liquid blood in her heart, so the local doctor removed the organ so her family could burn Mercy's heart on a nearby rock and fed the ashes to her sick brother Edwin in an effort to break the vampire spell. Remember?
I do.
Right.
And sadly, of course, Edwin died anyway.
Right.
But consumption or tuberculosis is the culprit in both of these stories. Vampires, before the days of Bram Stoker's Dracula, were walking corpses who feed on the lifeblood of the living. Consumption devastated families and created truly desperate times when people sometimes looked for supernatural causes to a contagion.
I wonder if Mercy's father, George Brown, heard stories of the vampire Abigail Staples a century earlier, and maybe that pushed him to try his own unconventional medicine?
Oh, it's totally possible. And no matter what, it's easy for us to look back now and see this stuff as desperate, even insane acts.
Well, that's what happens when there's a plague around. We get desperate. We lose our minds.
Yeah, sure.
The news quickly spreads that the infected person is now within our own borders of our town, and we start looking at each other wondering if somewhere inside that person there's a germ that could kill us if we get too close.
Yeah, plagues have happened before, and they will happen again. If medical science can't give us answers, well, legend and lore can. And suddenly, we're on the lookout for a monster.
Yeah, it's amazing that a story from more than 2 centuries ago can feel like it's taken from today's headlines.
And here we are, talking about a plague yet again. If you'd like to see some pictures of this little cemetery in Cumberland, head over to our website at ournewenglandlegends.com and just click on episode 129.
We also love when you share these episodes.
Yeah, we do.
Please tell a friend or two about us. It goes a long way in helping the cause.
We'd like to thank Jim Harold of the Paranormal Podcast for lending his voice acting talents this week. And thanks to my wife, Megan Belanger, for also getting roped in.
Woohoo!
And of course, our theme music is by John Judd.
Hey, New England Legends, this is drummer Fitch Proctor from We're Going Streaking and the Pub Kings, and if I may say, I'm a bit of a New England legend myself, in my own weird little mind. Anyway, remember, the bizarre is closer than you think.